I know.
Got it.
Got it. Did you just get that window that said got it?
Got it.
That was the one that I clicked close instead of got it, and that was what kept kicking us out of the meeting.
Ah,
Weird, eh?
it only took five episodes where that happened before you learned to click.
Hey,
Got it.
I might not be quick, but I'm also a very slow learner.
I guess it's true.
Hi, Internet.
Hey there, Internet.
How are you?
Welcome to episode 194 of Outrage Factory, the podcast where we look at the things that made people mad online and explain why they're dumb for caring. I'm your co-host, Derek Bolin.
I'm your other co-host, Dale DeRuiter. And first thing I want to say is this episode is dedicated to the pure of heart angel, Bob Saget, who died today.
Yeah, breaking news for those of you who are logging on to the internet for the very first time today, just to watch Dale and I, comedic legend Bob Saget passed away.
Mm-hmm. I just found out like 10 minutes ago.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, because I haven't been on because we went to Crescent Beach to go for a walk. Then I went grocery shopping.
We went to Crescent Beach to go for a walk.
I'm gonna be posting pictures. You know I am.
I went for I know you will.
As Andrea pointed out, a rock that was shaped like a dick. Perfect walk.
Do you just go dick spotting on every
No, now every time like Goats, Jeff Gauthier, who was on the Dale show, he was like, oh, I should show you all the dicks around Burnaby that are like drawn in cement as it was wet. So we went on a tour and it was snowing, so we only saw one. But now every time I see a dick, I'm like, oh, I gotta tag that and put Goatsy in it. So it's like dick spotting is now a thing that you can get trending.
Did I tell you? Was I telling you about
Hashtag
that?
dick spotting.
How
No.
in the ruins of Pompeii.
Yeah, no, that's why we were talking about it, because you told me this, and he's like, "Oh, there's so many dicks around Burnaby."
I hope that like centuries, yeah, we'll probably last another couple hundred years when the human race has been eradicated and aliens show up and discover the long lost remnants of our civilization. All they see is like dicks everywhere.
They'll be like, man, these humans had huge dicks. Because we'll do like opposite of the Renaissance, where they drew everybody with like the statue of Michael has a small dick because they thought only barbarians had big dicks. So if you had a big dick back then, it was a sign of low intelligence, like what we would think of like cavemen.
Yeah, so still that.
We're all so fucking
if you have a tiny dick, you're really smart.
Yeah. So now we're all insecure. So we're like, we just all have big dicks.
Yeah.
Every single one of us.
But
the aliens will see this and they'll be like, holy crap.
On the off chance you don't have a big dick, you're probably really smart and handsome and have a well-paying job. I'm just saying.
Sounds familiar, Derek. Pumping your own tires there?
Rest in peace, Bob Saget. And also happy New Year to although this has already been like, we got to stop fucking setting ourselves up this way, because everyone was like 2020 from March on was just dog shit.
Mm-hmm.
And then everyone was like, oh, 2021's got to be better. And then 2021 was not any better, arguably worse. And then everyone's like, 2022 is going to be better. And like in the first fucking week of 2022, you're just like, holy fuck.
Everything I saw, they're just like 2022. Because it was like Omicron started right before the new year, so everybody was like, oh, let's dust off the fucking panic button that we hadn't hit in like 6 months, and let's close everything down and just fucking see if we remember how to do all this fucking everybody bitch about everybody else doing it wrong thing.
Yeah, I mean, to the point I quit Twitter again because I was just like, everyone's just so like insufferably angry and negative about shit all the time. And I was like, I can't do this right now. I got enough insufferable anger of my own without having to deal with everybody else's.
Do you want to hear the best self-help advice ever?
Yeah.
You got to be happy and find things to be grateful about in your life, because if you're unhappy or angry, you resonate at a low frequency, and that feeds the reptilian overlords. So they'll win the more you're unhappy. So if you're happy, they lose.
That's, I never really cared about my own happiness until I knew it benefited reptilian overlords. And now, yeah.
I've been doing some research for the Dale Show, and that was one of the things that came up. Old David Icke. That's his personal belief.
He was also the fucking the Black Planet. What was it? Or like a different planet, or
he's like
stars. He's out there.
He's like if Alex Jones was crazier and British. But the funny thing was, I never knew this before, but you know how Jesse Ventura has like a super conspiracy thing, and David Icke has like, well, you don't know that?
What, Jesse Ventura, the former, wasn't he a governor of California?
And the reason he has a conspiracy show was from politics, because both him and David Icke, when they went into politics, they got radicalized, and they're like super conspiracy people now. Like Jesse Ventura, he was like so
wait, like he believes in the conspiracy. He doesn't just like cover them. He's like,
oh yeah, he's so disenfranchised with politics. He equated it to just being gangs, and he's the one who I don't know if he came up with it, but remember when I texted you Republicans and Democrips?
Yes,
he wrote a book titled that in 2012.
I mean, that part is true essentially. Oh, yeah. Like it's like your political beliefs are no longer just like one element of your life. They're like the entire defining characteristic of who you are, and everything else you do needs to fall in line with those political beliefs. So I buy it.
Oh, the weird thing was before, like 3 hours before I heard that on a podcast I was listening to, I was like thinking of a joke tweet, and I was like going to tweet out, the only people who care more about red and blue than idiot political analysts is the Bloods and the Crips. And I was like, is that a thing you should tweet? And then I found out Jesse the Ventura wrote a book about it, and I was like, well, it's a good thing I didn't, because I would just look like some hack copying jokes.
And we wouldn't want that.
No, we wouldn't. I want all my terrible jokes to come organically.
That's fair. Do we want to talk about the news?
Yeah, let's talk about the news.
Let's talk about the same fucking shit that's been going on for the past 3 years. Just the new variations we have.
Let's start. How about we put the COVID stuff on hold until we talk about something to do with Ghislaine Maxwell. So let's put the bad pandemic news on hold and go and talk about this fucking global pedophilia child trafficking ring instead.
Yeah, that sounds like a real feel good story.
So in 2019, did we talk about Prince Andrew saying he couldn't have been involved with like having sexual relations with a 17-year-old girl because he can't sweat?
Yeah. I don't know if we ever talked about it, but I know I was reading about this story recently. And the alibis that he gave for how he couldn't have done this. One was that he doesn't sweat, and one was like he was somewhere else at the time where he was supposed to be like dancing with this girl at a club, and it was just like fucking stupid and easily disproven. Anyway,
it was the excuse a royal who has no touch with reality would give, because she was like, yeah, this Prince Andrew guy, I was 17, we had sex and he was really sweaty. And then he was like, well, that couldn't have been me because I don't have the ability to sweat.
I can't even sweat.
And he's like, did he just oust himself as a fucking reptilian? He's like, it has nothing to do with me being a shape-shifting reptilian overlord. It's just that my sweat thingies don't work. But that's such a
softball for because he's in it's a civil suit, right? It's not a criminal suit. He is being sued by what's her name? Basically the whistleblower on the whole fucking Epstein ring.
Did you read that article I posted?
Probably not. I'm not gonna lie to you.
What's her name? Joffrey. Oh God, that's a Virginia Giuffre. So I'm gonna guess Giuffre, because a lot of these girls were from France, because that's where Ghislaine Maxwell did her, I guess, recruiting if you want to say it the least disgusting way. But the other reason that, like, because she's trying to sue Prince Andrew for, like, in a civil suit, like you said, but this is at the point where they're like going to a judge and being like, should this be able to be heard as a civil suit? And then one of the other things was, it was like in 2009, Epstein and Joffrey made a deal where she was given $500,000 if she never tried to sue Epstein again, or anybody else who could have been a defendant that was related to Epstein. So it's like them saying she can't sue Prince Andrew because it had to do with the Epstein deal kind of just makes them sound guilty, if you ask me.
That's not the right path to innocence. Like, there's a way to prove your innocence, and that ain't it. It's by actually conclusively proving.
I don't think you can plead the fifth on global childhood trafficking. That's
so,
not
but now
going to stand up.
The softball he's given her defense team is like, okay, produce medical documents, like produce some sort of medical proof saying you can't sweat, and we'll deal with that then. And like, the guy's just a fucking moron, and in addition to being a scumbag.
And now the queen was like, I'm not paying for your shit, because this is the queen's son. I guess it's Prince Charles's younger brother. The Prince Andrew to Charles is Harry to William. I guess if you're not all busted up on your royals, because I didn't know he was the queen's son until I read this article, because I just assumed he was some random royal, because he was like Fergie's husband, wasn't he?
Wait, was he?
I know so little about all this shit.
What?
Yeah, I think he was. But anyways,
Fergie from the Black Eyed Peas?
No, yeah, that Fergie. Fergalicious. Prince Andrew not looking too Fergalicious anymore. I mean, if it was Fergie from the Black Eyed Peas, then I might pay attention.
I was like, is that who the London Bridge song is about? Is it about him?
Oh my God, it's Prince Andrew on Epstein's Island. He's called. That would just make it sound like he had a huge unit. Speaking of aliens and dick size, if you call Prince Andrew the London Bridge,
it would be hilarious if the accuser came out and said he had a big dick, and then in order to defend himself or deny the charges, he would have to loudly announce to the world that he has a micro penis, in fact.
Or he would be like, not only am I a small dong ally, but I'm also a user. But it would be hilarious if he had to show the judge and it was like, this is obviously a lie. That dick is huge and it's fucking sweaty.
Just double glistening lies. With sweat.
And Prince Andrew's big sweaty hog is the fucking OJ Black Glove.
Wait, what was the original? Reverse. Why did we start talking about this?
Because now the queen said she's not going to pay for his legal fees.
Oh, right.
So poor Prince Andrew has to sell his $34 million ski chalet. I was going to say Swiss chalet, but I guess it is a Swiss chalet. It's not the restaurant.
It is a chalet in Switzerland.
Are getting shut down. Yeah, his ski chalet in Switzerland worth $34 million. He's got to sell it. I should have looked up what this looked like, because I wonder if it's like a location that is $34 million, or if it's just fucking gigantic that is $34.
Probably both, I would say. Let's see. Could we see it here? It doesn't look that flashy.
Oh, is it in the article that I posted?
No, here we go. A look at Prince Andrew's 7-bedroom.
Is 17... Robin Leach still alive? Speaking of everybody dying.
No, isn't Robin Leach like 1,000 years old?
I don't know. He was old, but
no, he was. He died in 2018. Rest in peace.
Oh, damn. Can't get a Robin Leach fucking tour of Prince Andrew's fucking ski chalet, which probably has secret rooms and all that jazz. Wouldn't that be fucking gross if Robin Leach was doing a Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous of Prince Andrew's ski chalet, and they're like, and here's the sex dungeon.
This fucking article is like, take a look at Prince Andrew's 7-bedroom, 17 million British pound luxury Swiss chalet. And all it is it's somebody clearly taking a video from the road across the street. And it's like super zoomed in, and then it pans out a little bit, and then it pans out a little bit more. And that's the whole tour. So it's like, thanks.
Paparazzi's really slipping lately.
Great ass view, though.
Yeah. Swiss Alps.
Yeah, the actual place itself doesn't look that fancy, but like, fuck you. Fuck the royals. Fuck the royal family. Like, how many multi-million-dollar properties do you think Prince Andrew alone owns? Never mind the entire royal family. Never mind everyone who is in this stupid fucking figurehead family that does nothing and accomplishes nothing and just exists to be rich and live rich people lives.
Yeah, they make. Oh, I was watching Netflix's Explained, and they have an episode of the Royals, and I was like, I should make notes of this, and then I just forgot. But like, the royal family gets all their money from taxes, and they get like 170 million a year. They're, of all the royal families around the world, they get the most.
Wait, do we still pay money? Because we're, as Canadians, we're a member of the Commonwealth.
Because we're fucking idiots, and we haven't decided to leave the Commonwealth, because all the other colonies were like, yeah, hit bricks, fucking monarchy. And we're like, I don't know, I kind of like having the queen. Although it is nice, because anytime some feminist is annoying you and she's all like, oh, the patriarchy, you could be like, actually, we're still part of the monarchy, so we're a matriarchy, if you want to be pedantic.
Oh, wait.
I love how like every 20 episodes or so the royals come up, and then we like basically oust ourselves for not knowing anything about the royals.
Yeah.
And being like, what the like their power over Canada looks like.
Yeah. I don't actually think they have.
I think they picked the lieutenant general.
Yeah, well, there's like, yeah, so there's the well, isn't it the governor general is like,
yeah, sure,
basically supposed to be the liaison between the Canadian government and the royal. But in terms of like actual influence, I don't think the fucking royal family does.
I think if
anything.
What did you say? The governor general, isn't
it?
I think they have like they have to give like the approval of the elections. So it's like I don't know why I say she, but whoever the governor general is had to approve Trudeau as the prime minister for the third time in a row. But
it is a she.
I don't think she would ever go against that and not just fucking stamp it through, because I think people would lose their shit. Well, maybe not Alberta, but everybody else would. Because Alberta hates Trudeau. That's my joke.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of bloated figureheads, the Pope made news this week.
Nice.
Huh?
Yeah.
Wait, were we done with the Prince Andrew? Did we adequately express enough sympathy for the man who must sell his $34 million Swiss ski chalet in order to? I am honestly more upset about Swiss Chalet, the restaurants, going out of business.
Speaking of restaurants, to just butt in with a segue in the middle of your segue.
Double segue. I love it.
Stormcrow's closing because of COVID.
Yeah.
Which sucks.
Meh.
I mean, I went there 3 times.
Yeah. It's fine, but there's like, it's so Stormcrow, for those of you listening from outside of Vancouver, was probably one of the first establishments to like build a restaurant and then put board games in it, at least in the Vancouver area.
But it was also it was nerd themed. Like,
it was super nerd themed. They are selling off all their shit, like all their memorabilia and shit too. They're going to be auctioning it off. But
yeah, I'm too poor for any of that.
Yeah, I went there a few times. It was fine, but it was also like the food wasn't that good, and like, you know, I can.
And who's gonna play a fucking board game in the middle of a loud ass restaurant?
Well, if I want to fucking play board games, I'll just invite my homies over to my place and make food that I know is better because I'm responsible for it. And
Derek can cook better than a pub.
yeah, it's true. Oh, Keenan's popping off in the comments saying he's a former Swiss Chalet employee. Represent. I had no idea he worked for the Chicken Hut.
That was the job he had when I first moved to Vancouver in 2013.
Damn.
8 years ago. Well, not first moved to Vancouver, for this stint. I've been here like almost 9 years now.
Congrats, bro.
That time felt like this long because I
have been living indoors and not interacting with human beings for most of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if Keenan knows the recipe for the sauce.
Yeah, Keenan, give us your sauce recipe. Yeah, Keenan.
Sauce.
Sure.
Okay. I have a serious question about Swiss Chalet because we're talking about it over Christmas. And was it the sauce red? What was I thinking of?
No, it was like a brownie red, like a ginger gravy almost. Like
I was thinking, I don't know what I had, but I thought I'd only eaten at Swiss Chalet once or twice, and I swore it was like sweet and sour gravy. Maybe I was. Yeah,
I mean that's basically what it. That's basically what it like tastes like.
Okay.
Yeah. So you're not wrong.
It was reddish brown. What a lovely color for sauce.
Yeah. I mean, who wouldn't want that?
Yeah.
Who wouldn't want reddish brown sauce all over, drizzled all over the chicken?
It doesn't look like poop. It looks like poop with blood in it. Okay.
You know what else looked like poop with blood in it?
The Pope.
Your poop after you ate Swiss Chalet. Oh, wait. The Pope made news this week for being the Pope when he came out and basically said that people that here's the thing about the Catholic Church. For years, the Catholic Church has grown in power and influence simply because a long time ago they were like, you know what? If we tell people who are members of the Catholic Church that wearing condoms is immoral, then they'll have like 15 fucking kids per family, and all those kids will grow up Catholic, and then we'll just like spread the influence of the church that way. And then millennials happened, and wealth, like unequal wealth distribution happened, and now people are like, we're not having 50. Who could afford to have 15 kids right now?
I think what it was the Catholic Church knew that if every family had like 7 or 8 kids, they would less likely catch on to what the priests were doing. But now that each family only has 1 or 2, it's a little more obvious.
Yeah, you have to listen to that one kid. Whereas 1 out of 7 or 8 kids, you're going to be like, yeah, Billy, like, sit down, shut the fuck up. Like, we got to deal with your brothers and sisters.
This is the 40s. We have real problems.
Yeah, real.
Yeah.
Go out and work the farm. But yeah. So the Pope came out and basically said that it's bad for the Catholic Church, but arguably also for the world, that people are having fewer children and getting pets instead. And I don't have his actual comments in front of me. I'm probably paraphrasing.
If you want to look at this from purely what's the opposite of objective point of view, in the impending religious war that is on the horizon, if the Catholic Church members stop having as much kids as they did, they're going to have not as many soldiers, so they're going to be at a disadvantage. Because if you look at the other religions of the world, I'm not saying any specific names because then that way it's not racist, those families are still having more kids. So that puts the Catholics at a disadvantage. Wouldn't that just be fucking crazy if there was a religious war and the Mormons won? Just came out of nowhere. What?
I don't think they have that much power.
Yeah, but they still have a lot of kids, and apparently the Pope thinks that's very important. Oh, how about here's a good question. If we had a religious war, a whole globe, World War III, it's not fucking China versus the US, it's religion versus religion. how would all of the like what would the sides be? Because you would obviously have like Christians, but would the Catholics and the Christians and the Protestants and the Mormons, would they be all on the same one?
I mean, if they,
or would it even go higher up, and would it be every Abrahamic religion? So like you have the Muslims, the Jewish, and the Christians all on the same side.
then who are they fighting, Dale? Or
Hinduism, Buddhism, Taoism.
I gotta do some quick napkin math here.
Because if the Abrahamic religions all joined forces, they would win for sure.
Okay, so
yeah.
top religions,
okay,
by population.
Yeah.
Do you want? Okay, what do you think number 3 is?
Buddhism.
So actually, and this is kind of a cop out, but the third most popular religion in the world globally, with 1.193 billion people, is basically not believing in a god. So that's like secular or like non-believing or agnostics or atheists.
Wait, what does secular mean?
Just like non-religious.
Oh, I always thought secular was a different sections of the church or whatever. Okay, I get it. Fuck, there's a fruit fly flying around my computer.
Yeah, you keep trying to catch up. Well, I talk fucking numbers here, son.
Religion. Oh,
number 3, actual religion.
The atheists. Yeah.
For real though, like you would think that like if we're pairing off to have like a global religious war, the atheists, they got to defend themselves.
Wait, how would the atheists get the extra benefit of all the like witches and Wiccans and like?
Oh yeah.
What about Gnostics?
Wait, no, that's a separate. There's neo-paganism, which is actually its own thing here.
You want to know something interesting?
They would not get the Wiccans. What's up?
The Nazis would fall under neo-paganism.
What?
Because they had all their beliefs based on the old-timey like Norse mythology.
Interesting.
But since they're not there anymore,
we got rid of them. They don't exist. Okay.
This is all I want to talk about for the rest of my life is how the religious war would break down.
Third most popular actual religion in the world, Hinduism, with 1.1 billion people.
God damn, really? Wait,
second
how much
most,
was that? 1.1?
1.1 billion people.
Okay, so that's like a seventh of the planet.
Hinduism, yeah. Islam, number 2. Number 2, with 1.9 billion people.
Damn, a quarter of the planet.
Yeah.
Damn. No wonder all those fucking old right-wing people in the States are scared.
Number 1
is
Christianity.
Hey, Christianity.
Which
hometown
2.3 billion people, but that is inclusive of like I think all of the different sects. You gotta just say.
Wait, is the Jewish faith on there?
They are, yeah. Judaism? They are number let me pull up the article, the Wikipedia article.
Why would you close that? This is all I want to talk about.
Judaism.
I have 100 more questions.
There are only 14 million Jews in the world. For 0.18% of the global population are practicing members of the Jewish faith.
How the fuck
do they control Hollywood?
Conspiracy theories?
I don't know.
Oh, well, Hollywood's not that big, but how are they supposed to be able to like control everything? That's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
So it goes Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, atheists. What's the fifth?
Buddhism, with 506 million people.
506? Those numbers drop fast.
But yeah, so it's like Christianity, Islam, Hinduism are the big 3, and then also with like secular or atheist, and then after that it's Buddhism with 500 million, Chinese traditional religion with 394 million.
What's that?
Like the,
Falun Gong and stuff like that?
like,
No, I don't know at
Buddhism,
all.
Taoism, Confucianism,
Wait,
other
didn't we
stuff.
already say Buddhism?
But yeah, I think this is like excluding Buddhism.
Oh, it's the rest. Like, okay, I get it.
And then after that, there's there's African traditional religions with 100 million. And then a bunch of ones in the 20 million to 1 million category. Did you know?
Keenan in the comments was asking, what is the Force or Jediism or whatever that one's called? Because it's an actual religion.
Oh, Christ.
Is it on the list?
How many people are in the Jedi religion? How many members of Jedi religion?
100,000.
The 2016 census found that 48,000 people reported themselves as practicing members of the Jedi religion.
Is that just in the States?
I don't know where it is. And
ironically,
I'm not clicking
that's
to read
more
anymore.
than there ever was real Jedis in
Got
the
'em.
Star Wars universe.
Got him. Boom. Boom. Did you know that there are 600,000 practicing Rastafarians in the world?
Oh, hey. Yeah, because that's like the official religion of Jamaica, isn't it?
Okay, so if we're drawing lines right now, I think it would be like Christianity plus Judaism, because like Judaism needs to hitch their wagon to one of the big three, and it ain't going to be Islam and it ain't going to be Hinduism. So Christians plus Jewish people against Islam, against Hindus, and I would say, so if you're the Buddhists, if we're picking sides right now, the Buddhists and the Buddhists and the Chinese traditional
I was going to say
religions,
they would all join up.
They would all join the Hindus, and then maybe I think it's a fair fight between the big three. And then what do the atheists do?
Exactly. Maybe the atheists go against the big three and they just get all the rest. Like they get the African ones, they get Rastafarians, they get the neo-paganists, and then
neo-paganists. Like who do you think a Wiccan is? A Wiccan going to side with like one of these very like strict fundamental religions, or are they going to go with the chill folk who don't really believe in anything at all?
Dude, wouldn't this be awesome if this happened and then that's how we found out magic was real? Because there's magic in the Bible. So if they believe in all the stuff that's in the Bible, then you got to believe in magic.
Yeah. You don't even have to believe in the Bible. You can believe it. Magic is all around us. Magic is in the air right now.
We're all made of stardust.
What the fuck were we? Oh, the Pope said it's I don't know. I did a Google search and I was reading about what he actually said, and it said he didn't actually say that it was selfish for people to choose pets over kids, but it didn't say what he actually said. So I'm just going to stand by the inflammatory clickbait headlines and say the Pope did say that. And
yeah, you can't go wrong with that.
I will say the Pope is right on one thing. I don't know if he said this. I know he probably intended to. People who refer to themselves or their pets as like fur parents or fur babies can get fucked because you're not a parent and they're not a kid. So like, shut the fuck up. Call yourself a pet. I was like, we need another term for this, but one exists. It's pet owner and pet. The terms are already out there.
See, and I always thought that when people said fur babies, it was like almost an ironic troll where you say something that you know is so dumb and stupid, but you say it on purpose to annoy people, then it's okay. Yeah. It would be like if I use the term fur baby.
Yeah. I think it started out that way. And now there are people out there who unironically, if you're like, oh, do you have any like children? They'll be like, oh, just my 2 cats. Those are my children. They're children to me. And they sound like salad fingers. And
oh, do you want to hear what he actually said?
Well, yeah.
Sorry, I fucking.
No, we're all about factual truth reporting on Outrage Factory. Yes, I would
Okay.
like to know what he said.
So during a general audience at the Vatican, he said, today, ellipses, which means that they cut out a whole chunk of the quote, we see a form of selfishness. We see that some people do not want to have a child. Sometimes they have one, and that's it. But they have dogs and cats that take the place of children. This may make people laugh, but it is a reality.
Wait, it makes them laugh?
This may make people laugh, but it is a reality. So I think he was like, maybe he's ESL and he like speaks what, Italian as a
He does.
first language.
No, he's Portuguese. He's not actually Italian. I think he's from Brazil, isn't he? Brazil or
Derek, you're asking the wrong guy. If I don't know about the royals who haven't changed in my entire life, then I for sure don't know about this Pope who's been Pope for what, like 5 years?
He's Argentinian. Sorry, Pope. Really fuck the dog on that one.
What did you say?
I said he was Brazilian.
Oh.
I said he spoke Portuguese because that is what they speak in Brazil, as far as I know.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I would have said Brazilian.
What do they speak in Brazil? Going down a rabbit hole. Oh, that is Portuguese. Fuck, look at me. Take me out to trivia night. Let's go.
Worldly Derek. Oh, and he also went to say pet keeping was a denial of fatherhood and motherhood and diminishes us, takes away our humanity. All right. The Pope. So I guess what he did say was actually as bad as it is. Oh, wait. And then he also said civilization grows old without humanity because we lose the richness of fatherhood and motherhood, and it is the country that suffers.
And he followed that up by saying, if you refer to your pets as fur babies, you're a fucking idiot. Knock that shit off, please. Sincerely, Pope Francis.
Is this the same Pope that was all like for like gay rights and stuff? Or was
this Pope is like, okay, so as far as popes go, like
Pope?
This Pope fucking, like, this guy is like a fucking like bleeding heart socialist. He like grew up poor in what I thought was Brazil and is actually Argentina. And he's like, he's all about like, so he's pretty progressive as far as popes go. So yeah. He's like very socially progressive. He like doesn't like capitalism all that much. And he fucking hates it when people who own pets believe that they are parents.
Yeah, of course he doesn't like capitalism because he would have to get a job instead of just being like the Pope who gets money.
What do you think? I was gonna ask, I was like, what do you think popes do when they stop being popes? But they die, and that's how they stop. I was like, because you don't normally see like former popes going out there and like landing like sponsorship contracts for like, you know, commercial products.
They're like the ex-presidents of the United States, and they go speak to fucking like banks for 500 grand a pop. They're like, the Pope's doing a speech for the Bloomberg Group where he talks for 2 hours and makes 500 grand. Crazy.
All right.
Didn't the Pope also say recently, this isn't in the article, I just saw it in passing, that he didn't want people to call it the Pope Mobile anymore because it's like not respectful of his bubble car?
Is bubble car more respectful?
No, not at all. But I don't give a fuck if the Pope thinks I respect him or not. I'm not going to go full Sinead O'Connor on this, but if I ever was on Saturday Night Live, oh man, that's what I would do. I'd go on Saturday Night Live and just rip a picture of the Pope in half and be like, nobody cares anymore.
All right. So Dale has clearly drawn his side. He's chosen his sides in the forthcoming religious super war.
Yeah, I'd go with the atheists because they'd have the best science.
You think so?
Yeah.
All right.
Any religious warrior who's like, I'm going to pray for an edge in this fight, I'd be like, I'm going to go with the guy who makes the best guns and does the science. Or,
I mean, to be fair, all of these major religions have fucking years of history making weapons and like conquering shit. So
valid point.
None recent so much, yeah. But
okay, how's this sound? The atheists, if they get the neo-paganists, they would have the best magic and the best fucking science. It's a marriage made in a world I want to live in.
Okay. Dale has chosen his sides.
It's the atheists. Sorry, Dad.
Fair.
And Mom to a lesser extent, because she doesn't go to church anymore. Oh, speaking of the Pope, do you want to talk about this chick who's not going to fart anymore?
What our fart hero from nice segue, bro.
Hey, thanks. The Pope probably farts, eh?
Yeah, as we covered in our last episode, our brave heroine reality TV star who farted in jars and sold them for what, $40,000 a week?
Yeah.
Actually, so this is a perfect metaphor for capitalism that Pope Francis rails against, because she had to step up production so much on the fart jars in order to make as much money as possible, that she put herself on a just a moronic diet of like beans and protein powder. And it literally sounded like that was all she was eating.
She said she drank 3 protein shakes a day. And that then being a fucking idiot who, I guess if you're like farting in jars and you think it's going to work out and you just like start eating beans and protein shakes and you just have no real idea what nutritional needs your body has. But she got like gastric pain so bad that she thought she was dying of a heart attack. And had to go to the ER, and they're like, yeah, no, you just have gas.
You're just farting a lot from your career choices.
Imagine how much she was farting.
Yeah.
Like I have 1 protein shake and it's like good night for the rest of the day. Like just don't come. If I said I had a protein shake, just talk to me.
Don't do it.
Don't even talk to me on the phone because it'll ruin your time.
If she was smart, she would have just outsourced the farts, because it's not like people are running DNA tests on the fart jars. They're getting back to him. Also, I would like to say I'm very fucking disappointed in our readers or our listeners, because all I wanted, and I said all I wanted for Christmas, was for people to fart in jars and wrap them for your loved ones.
Oh, yeah.
And not a single fucking person did it. So, you know what? Better luck next year.
We need a dumber audience.
That's
it. We need,
or
people
just not even dumber, just like more. Did you ever watch the Nixium documentary? No. It was all about how they like sussed out like people who would actually buy into their culty bullshit. And it was like, there are tests that you can give people to determine how like easily suggestible or influenced they are. We need those. We need those people, like people who would sign up for a cult. We need them to listen to this podcast.
Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah,
the rich people.
Yeah.
I think all the rich people who are susceptible to cults are probably already in cults.
You would think that, but there's a lot of like nouveau riche people out there.
Yeah, and especially with all the fucking small business closing and the biggest upwards transfer of wealth in our history going on during COVID. There's got to be a couple new rich people who haven't been recruited yet.
Well, they're all just looking for something to believe. They're like just fucking throwing money into Bitcoin because they're so desperate to believe in something. And I think that's where we can really, Dale and I can step in and steer you and your money in the right direction. And that is by having you invest exclusively in jars full of farts.
Hey, these are going to only go up in price because the supply went way down. So the demand is going to go way up. They were selling for $1,270 a jar, which is a weird, not round number at all before. So I can only imagine how much these NFTs are going to go up. Non-fartable tokens.
Non-fartable tokens. Nice. Okay, can we talk about this travel deal before the
or what? We're hanging out all night.
The fucking I know you and I are, but for the benefits of this podcast,
the Sunwing flight,
the Sunwing party.
My favorite part of this, I'm just gonna say, is Trudeau called them all idiots and goofs. I don't think he's used the word goofs, but then someone was like, "Oh, really?" And then they showed a picture of like Trudeau like 4 months ago at a party, en masse with a whole bunch of people.
people are being, here's the thing, okay? Like
Here's the thing.
here's the thing.
Let the pure cast the first stone.
What happened here is that a bunch of it was this fucking party company. I can't remember what they're called. But they chartered a jet to Cancun, somewhere in Mexico.
Cancun.
And like filled it with like social media influencers and like young hot people. Like you've seen this shit. And
why couldn't this plane crash?
Well, we all get fucking annoyed by it because like we're old and we're ugly and we're poor and like no one's being like, hey, Derek and Dale, come on our private jet to Cancun and party with these hot young girls. So we're like,
sounds like hell. How long's the flight?
We're like, fuck those people. I mean, it did look like hell, but like, so what happened is someone leaked a video and it shows all these people basically like partying in this plane and drinking out of bottles of alcohol and just like, it looks like a dance party on a fucking plane.
Dude, they were crowd surfing. This plane was lit as fuck.
And I mean, like, and people just lost their fucking minds about it because not only are they mad,
we're so jealous that like, they don't get to go party.
Number one, I've been sitting in my home doing the right thing for 2 years, and how dare these people go to Mexico and then on a plane, they're not even wearing masks, they're drinking alcohol. Like, shut the fuck up, idiot. Number one. So it was bad that the video got leaked. It was bad that these people were behaving in an unsafe manner in an airplane.
You know, I'm not even going to say it's bad. It was a private flight.
All that other shit. Well, that's the thing. Everyone's like, you're not allowed to drink from bottles of alcohol on an aircraft per FAA regulations. And this isn't a fucking Delta flight to Cancun, you moron. Yeah. This is a fucking like private charter plane where like when you're rich, rules don't apply to you. When you are on like a private plane, you're generally allowed to do whatever the fuck you want. And
because if you weren't, why would you even get rich in the first place?
Yeah.
First of all these people probably already had COVID in the last 2 years. If this is how hard they fucking bust loose. Yeah. Second, like when I first heard this story, like, is a Sunwing, because they say Sunwing flight, so you're like, it's a commercial flight full of passengers. So I thought it was like there's 20 people on like a regular flight cutting loose, like
which like the
Russian on the way home from the World
If
Juniors.
That happened, and there was like some like kindly old grandmother flying to see her grandchildren, then I might be like, but people were reacting to it like that was the story, not understanding that this was like everyone on the plane was doing this. It was a charter flight.
And it was like they said, one of the things they said was the steward staff were like, they were doing this, they were putting us in harm's way. But they also said none of them were belligerent or not listening to us. Yeah. So it's like you have these kids who are just busting loose, having fun on a jet that they fucking rented for themselves. I'm okay with it. If the stewardesses have a problem with it, they should have said something, be like, maybe put up like, just fucking tape a Ziploc bag stuck together to block off the back part of the fuselage or whatever. But it seems like it was all okay. And then they landed and then they were going to try get them to go back. And they were like, and Sunwing was even like, we will fly you all back. And then the guy who put on the thing, they were like going back and forth and they almost had it so that all these people would be back safe and sound in their own beds in Toronto, except for he would not go back on the in-flight meal. It's a 5-hour flight, and his hill to die on was like, no, I'm not going without an in-flight meal. And so it got scrubbed.
Wait, for real? That's so fucking dumb.
That's the thing that held this up. So it's like, that's what these people should be. This guy should be fucking charged for, because he's a fucking idiot, because everybody could have been home. It could have been over, but he was just like, they need a meal. It's like, just fucking go without the meal. Like, you guys, you had the fucking time of your life on a plane. You went to Cancun. You had the time of your life there. And then you just got to fly. You're all going to be fucking hungover from a week of partying anyway. Just sleep for 5 hours and get it over with.
Yeah, it was. So somebody, and like, so there's like rules and processes in place where like, if passengers are being unruly on a flight, then like flight attendants can step up and be like, hey, sit the fuck down, shut the fuck up. You have to obey us. And then if passengers don't obey that, the flight attendants can notify the flight deck and say, hey, we have like a very serious safety situation here. And then the pilots can get authorization to divert the plane somewhere else and land it. And the unruly passengers will be taken off of the flight and into custody and charged with a crime. None of that happened. And the flight just continued for fucking 5 hours or whatever to fucking Cancun because nobody had a problem with it until that video got posted. And all of a sudden, Sunwing was like, oh, we have to protect our asses. So we're going to say that like we tried to control the situation and the passengers were being very unruly. And then all these fucking other dipshit airlines were like, here's the deal. If you're traveling right now, which like good fucking luck, it's a shit show out there. I was in Key West last week and getting home was a fucking nightmare. And my wife is coming home today and getting home is a fucking nightmare. And like, because of Omicron being everywhere, you're going to have a hard time getting tests and you're going to have, but like the government of Canada and these like private planes have like, sure, they officially have the right to do it, but like, there's no fucking reason to strand these people in Mexico because they posted a video that you didn't agree with or that you thought was irresponsible because you know, if they're flying home on a fucking commercial flight, it's very unlikely they're pulling that shit. This is specifically because it was a fucking party flight. And like assuming they can get their COVID tests and everything checks out, like bring the fucking people home. But because of the like global media attention around this story, because everyone's just fucking pissed off and bitter because we have all been, I mean, not we, because I've traveled plenty, but you've all been stuck in your homes for fucking 2 years. And you're so angry about that, that it had to be this big fucking media story. And now I did see reports that like some of the people were starting to trickle back, but something that I think it was something like 30 of the people on that flight have tested positive for COVID in Mexico.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like, how many people were on this flight? If I mean, 30 of them.
It's not that surprising. COVID. If you look at the video and you're like, I mean, yeah, that part's surprising, but you're also, I mean, I would guess like there were probably 50 people tops on the flight. And like, yeah, most of them got COVID.
Before, when I said they probably already had COVID before, obviously they either got it again or, so I was wrong. It was a problem. But like, I don't know. Everybody keeps acting like if we want to just get into like the fucking nitty gritty of this, everybody keeps acting like people are getting Omicron because they're like these dickheads on this plane and they're being totally irresponsible. But it's like, we're getting like each province, I only know about Alberta and BC, are each getting like 3,500 to 4,000 new fucking people have it a day. And it's like, it's not like all of those people are being shitty. It's just this one spreads really fast. Like fucking every hockey team right now has like 5 to 10 guys on COVID protocol. So it's like, it's just fucking spreading through everything. And I don't know what my original point was. Oh yeah. It's just like how everybody's like, oh, if we do all this, it won't happen. And it's only people are only, it's like, it's almost as bad as the, like, you shouldn't have dressed like that if you didn't want COVID.
Well, that's like, it fucking feels very, and I got a big argument with people about this because everyone's
Is
like,
is this why you left Twitter?
No, this was kind of the precursor to it, but like somebody like posted a fucking, it was a guy, a reporter, Ian Hannamansing, who's like a reporter for CBC
that
or
guy's
something.
Still around?
Yeah, apparently. Good for him. He posted a thing about how he had heard from one of his friends in the Caribbean that there's Canadians down there who are basically just like stranded because they have tested positive for COVID. And now they're basically stuck there for 2 weeks. And everyone popping off in the comments like, good, if you travel, you deserve to get COVID. And like, no, you fucking dumb. Like here, that's a very like March 2020 approach to it. It's like, it is not. And I had this argument with someone who shall remain nameless, who is most certainly not an ex of mine or a mother to my child. But she was like talking about how wildly irresponsible it was for me to travel to the States and then come home. And I'm like, look, we're 2 years into this thing. It's not irresponsible to travel anymore. As long as you're like being safe. She was like, oh, well, you were like maskless around other people. And I'm like, yeah, I was like outdoor maskless around other people. And when I was indoors, I was wearing a N95 mask, which is what they now recommend. And I was like, what are you doing to and she's still wearing a cloth mask, and she's going to like 3 dozen locations of the retail. And I'm just like,
I'm just gonna stick up for her because I know for sure she's not watching this, but like, and also I just want to butt in on this N95 thing. Like, that isn't a new thing. Like, we knew cloth masks weren't, like Fauci said right
weren't doing the job. Yeah,
he was like, don't bother wearing a cloth mask, and then whatever, he changed his mind later. But we knew that cloth masks weren't going to protect you from getting COVID or even stop you from spreading it. It's just better than nothing. And we didn't have enough N95 masks because they were all made in China. And somehow at the same time, this disease that came from China, they ran out of masks to stop us from getting it. I don't know. It's not a conspiracy, so I don't want to connect dots.
It most certainly is not. It was, but yeah, it's just like you have all these people now here getting COVID, being like, I don't understand why I did everything I was supposed to. And it's like, okay, well, what you were supposed to do was like a mitigation strategy. It wasn't you can't catch COVID if you go to a restaurant and you only stay at your own table and you're pulling down your mask to like eat at this restaurant. You could still get COVID. If you are mingling indoors with other people who aren't members of your household, and you're wearing a shitty cloth mask, you could still get COVID. And a lot of the people who have been traveling, particularly from Canada to the United States, have been like super fucking careful because they know if they get COVID while they are there, they're fucked. Like, you're stuck there for 2 weeks, so you're not coming home. So I think like overall, this belief that like doing this one thing is irresponsible and more dangerous than like I don't know if you've noticed, but like Omicron numbers, like it's already here. People are already spreading it pretty good without the whole travel part.
And the thing is, like, I got to back you up here. It's almost like traveling is safer for the spread of COVID because you got to get tested going both ways with a PCR test. And if you get Omicron here and you're like, you do like a rapid test, they're like, yeah, don't bother going to get tests. Just fucking stay home for 7 days. Like, you can't like, do that if you're traveling.
What was the official advice? It's like, just assume you have COVID and don't go anywhere. So
just fuck yourself and die. We don't care.
And meanwhile, like the labor force is fucking dying and like businesses are shutting down and flights are being canceled because they're like, we can't actually tell you if you have COVID or not. So just assume you do. Don't go to your job. It'll work out.
Yeah.
Good luck.
We closed all the testing sites before Christmas because we thought COVID was over. And then this thing that everybody saw coming happened. And we don't want to open up those testing sites again. So just fuck off.
Yeah.
Basically. But it's like, and the thing was, we were never not going to get COVID. Like you and me.
Oh, Dale.
We were talking about how everybody's going to get this like a year and a half ago. And then everybody kind of forgot. But the whole stop the spread wasn't like, we're not going to get COVID. It was like, we got to slow down how much everybody gets COVID. So the medical infrastructure doesn't collapse. But now that not everybody goes to the hospital, you don't have to worry about it as much.
That's the thing. We've slowed it down. Like, enough people are vaccinated, enough people are boosted. That generally the health system should not be overwhelmed by this. If it is, there were definitely some miscalculations along the way. But I was like, I read an article the other day and it was like, the difference between Canadian and American COVID policies right now isn't that America is like rah freedom and Canada isn't. It's that Canada's healthcare system was already like kind of cracking under the strain a little bit before COVID even happened. Meanwhile, healthcare in the States is like much more accessible. They're not at risk of running out of ICU beds.
You have to pay for it.
Yeah. But because of that, you see more people, they don't have as strict policies, whereas in Canada, they have to have it. And the policies aren't to protect the people. They're to protect the healthcare system from cracking under the strain of this. So ultimately, we've all taken the steps to prevent, allegedly most of us have taken the steps to prevent prevent serious infection or death. So just let this fucker run wild. Let's see what happens.
Like if 4,000 people got Delta or even one of the other COVIDs, the fucking healthcare system would have been gone. It would have just fucking got nuked because so many people from Delta go to the hospital and had to be in ICU beds and stuff. Like we went like before Omicron, wasn't like the record in BC like 1,500 new cases in a day?
Yeah, what is it now?
It was like the records now is like over 4 grand. And the hospitalizations have only gone up at most by 27. So it's like now we have like 227-ish. I didn't look at the numbers today, people in the hospital. Whereas during Delta, we had like 160 or something. So maybe it went up like 60 or whatever. But that's like the difference of the people who are actually like getting effed by Omicron as opposed to Delta. So it's like, I don't know, like it just seems like everybody's taking pot shots at each other when they really shouldn't.
Yeah.
We're all in this together, guys.
We're be smart, be safe, be kind, or whatever the fuck it. Yeah, like it's it's so the strategies we were using 2 years ago and the beliefs we had 2 years ago, like those are gone. We shouldn't have those anymore. We should still have that shit. You shouldn't still be shaming people for fucking traveling, especially if they're like, I mean, pre-COVID, especially if they're me. Thank you, Dale. I mean, we were all thinking it, and I didn't want to be the first to say it. But it's like if pre-COVID, if somebody went traveling and they came home with a cold, you weren't like, you motherfucker, you brought that cold back from there, and now you're gonna give it to everyone here, and you're gonna spread your fucking. That's basically like, I don't want to be that guy, but like Omicron is much more mild for vaccinated people.
Oh, it's not even a bad flu anymore. Like, remember the right wing where people were saying it was a bad flu at the beginning? This is like a bad cold.
We can't say it.
I'll say it. No,
we're gonna get removed from YouTube.
Dude,
again.
The fucking YouTube bots don't go an hour deep. As long as I don't write that this is in here, they're not gonna get this deep.
All right. But yeah, and you and all your like super smart liberal friends are definitely vaccinated and definitely boosted. So let's just stop shaming people for bringing back a relatively harmless disease, even if they do come back positive, which not a lot of people are, because you got to get tested to come back in the country. So let's stop shaming people for traveling.
What would have happened if you were positive? Would you have had to stay there, or can you still do the like COVID hotel thing?
So here's the thing. They're not doing COVID hotels anymore. I think they scrapped the whole thing. Unless you're like incapable of like finding a place to quarantine. If you test positive, the responsible thing to do would be to just like hunker down in the United States for a couple of weeks, which is probably what I would have done. But there is a loophole in which if you test positive, they won't let you on an airplane, but you can drive across the Canadian border with a positive test. So
here we go, life pro tips.
So if you are stuck in the United States and you do test positive, responsibly get yourself close to the border. And then rent a car or do whatever, walk across, drive across, make sure you disclose your COVID positivity at the border, and then you can go home and quarantine. Just don't take public transit to get there.
Question.
Yes, Dale.
Say I go to the States. I go to...
Sure.
I'm not going to go to some fucking expensive place. Say I just go to like Mississippi or something weird.
Love it.
I want to go look at Indian mounds or something like that.
Okay.
How about I go to the Serpent Mound in Ohio, because it's like this mound that was built thousands of years ago that looks like a snake.
Yeah,
look
very
it up
big
on Google Maps. It's pretty cool.
Big tourist destination.
I get COVID because one of the other nerds that's looking at the dirt pile that looks like a snake coughed on me. Can I fly from Ohio to Bellingham and then drive across, or can I fly in the States with COVID?
Yeah. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
If you were to board a plane while COVID positive,
yeah,
that would morally probably not be a good thing to do, but logistically you could 100% do it because they're not checking COVID. They don't make you COVID test or be vaccinated or any of that. They barely make you wear a mask to fly a fucking plane in America. So
so let's say I'm flying around in the States and then I have a connector so I fly from Ohio to Bellingham to Vancouver or whatever. And some fart nugget in the fart tube just breathes COVID all over me, but I don't know because I got tested before. All right, I see how this is going. It's crazy. I think I just proved the other point of why it's dumb to travel unless you go direct flights.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is that like there aren't a lot of like airplanes actually have pretty bitchin' air filtration systems, believe it or not. So as long, yeah, for real. What?
I don't know.
I was just looking at the Google Maps of Serpent Mountain. This actually looks pretty fucking dope.
Yeah,
I'd go
right.
See
like worth going to look at and get COVID over, right?
Yeah.
I mean, 100%. It's in Ohio. If you're there, you can see all the other sites. Past guest Emilio Emilio, you can go visit him. I was going to say Emilio Estevez.
Emilio Estevez. That's it.
He lives by also, Ohio. He has a
I don't think
club.
He lives in Ohio.
Go see the Serpent Mount and then go to Emilia's strip club. I can't remember what it's called. It's definitely not called the Moist Hole.
Bro,
I told him he should call it.
He didn't take you up on that
advice. Yeah. He also didn't call it the Snake Mound, which is another really good idea.
With for the strip club?
Yeah.
No, the Snake Mound would be a good name for a gay strip club.
I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be gay. Straight dudes can look at other straight dudes' dicks. Totally.
You're not
it's
wrong.
A new world, Derek.
You're not wrong. Look at us.
Don't yuck my yum.
Straight as it gets. Don't say it. All right. Is there anything else you want to talk about before we?
It's funny because I fucking hate that saying, but I just keep saying it because
don't say it because it's one of those things.
It annoying other people gives me joy more than how much I hate saying it.
But that's the thing. It's one of those things that you're going to start saying ironically just to annoy people. And then it's going to be one of those things that like, you'll be saying this shit 10 years from now, completely unironically. And we'll be like, what the fuck, man? I told you this would happen.
It'll like turn into an inside joke with myself and it'll just alienate me from my peers. It's like you've been my best friend for over 20 years. You just know this.
I know. All right. Are we done here?
Yeah, we covered everything. There's a couple.
We did it. Done. We covered everything. Great job, outrageketeers.
Yeah. Instead of doing a highlight show for 2021, because
there were no highlights.
It fucking sucked. It was basically
fuck show of a year.
It was us either talking about COVID or trying not to talk about COVID. That's all 2021 was.
Yeah.
And that's all 2022 is going to be.
Yeah.
Unless Omicron just
fart in a jar and wrap it and give it to someone for a birthday gift and send the video to me.
Oh, have you heard anything about the next strain of COVID? The one after Omicron?
I've seen a bunch of alarmist shit lately that's like, oh my God, there's fucking combination Omicron and flu and combination Omicron and Delta. And then people are basically...
That's not combination stuff. It's just people got the flu and COVID
and Omicron,
which is good. That means that here's some science tail talk.
Love it.
You couldn't get Delta and the flu at the same time because Delta was so powerful. It overruled the flu and you only had Delta symptoms. You can get Omicron and the flu at the same time because Omicron is a little bitch form of COVID and the symptoms are less than the flu. There, I said it. The symptoms of Omicron are less than the flu. Scrub me from the internet, fucking the Illuminati.
Yeah, Illuminati. Tell them.
At least I'll know you watch this. And that's enough.
Tell them. Tell them you watch.
Yeah.
And also give us more power and influence, please. Because or any power and influence would be good.
Yeah. I'll take it.
Yeah.
I think I yelled too much. I got myself a headache.
Yeah, good. You sounded at least as loud as me this episode. Hey, everyone. So, yeah, we're not going to do a fucking recap episode, but maybe we'll do.
We decided against it, not we got lazy and forgot.
maybe we'll do a look ahead at what people are going to be mad about in 2022 and come up with, we're just going to keep phoning it in on this one, at least until we can. What?
Derek, it's not phoning it in, it's zooming it in.
We're going to keep zooming it in on this one. Nice.
Hey, there's your fucking recap for 2021. We stopped phoning it in and we started zooming it in.
I do think that there is going to be I think at least some point this year, there is going to be a variation of COVID that is at least it's as transmissible as Omicron, but way, way deadlier. And then we're going to see some real I think we're going to see some stand style shit.
Let's do a $5 bet.
The stand. Okay. I'll shake on that.
I think, oh wait, that's the same hand. Okay, do it again.
What now? It looks like the same hand on my video.
Oh, it looks like the opposite hand. Okay, there. Whatever. I think the next one is gonna either be easier transmissible than Omicron and milder even, or harder to catch than Omicron and a little bit stronger. But I don't think you're gonna get easier transmissible and stronger. I don't think that's going to happen. But let's have a side bet. Okay, that's our $5 bet. Okay. You think the next one's going to be worse? I think it's going to be less.
Not even necessarily. Just at some point this year, there is going to be one that's as transmissible as Omicron, but way deadlier.
Okay. Side bet.
Yeah.
What month do you think BC, not the world, not Canada, what month do you think BC says fuck it and starts lifting their closure shit? It can even be next year.
Yeah, honestly, depending on how March, and that might be optimal. I'm gonna say March.
That was gonna be my guess.
Okay, sorry.
I'm gonna say June.
Damn! What the fuck, Dale?
because it's there's so many less cases in the summer because it's light out and light kills the virus. And are we still denying that light kills the virus or whatever? Remember when we were like, that doesn't, because Donald Trump said it, we were all not listening to that. Anyways, it's way harder to catch outside and more people are way more in June. And just like last summer when we thought it was over, we started lifting everything. I think that's going to happen again. But I think once we lift them this next time, that's it. We're fucking done. It's just going to be like
shit until June.
It's just like, if you get sick, you get sick. Oh, I'm not saying you and me. I'm saying responsible adults.
Not
the government, like Bonnie Henry says, fuck it.
I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this shit until June.
Fuck.
No fucking way.
No fucking way. Although,
hey everyone,
I've gone to a restaurant 3 times in the last 2 years. So
I've gone to America more times than you've gone to a restaurant in the past. So. Yeah. Fuck all of that. Hey, internet, thanks for joining us for this wild romp through the first week of 2022. This has been episode 194 of Outrage Factory. I've been your co-host Derek Bolin. No, I'm not on Derek Bolin, though I wish I were.
Hey.
Don't follow me on Twitter because I'm taking another break because everyone there is a fucking dickhead. Buffalo,
except for me,
except for
your
Dale,
other co-host,
follow
Dale
him.
the Rooter. You can follow me at Super Dalebot. You can follow the podcast at Outrage Fact Pod, and you can follow us on Instagram, Outrage Factory. TikTok is Dale the Rooter. Send us an email, outragefactpod@gmail.com.
Wherever you listen to or download your podcast, please rate, review, and subscribe to us. Head on over to our Redbubble, T-Fury.
Yeah, Redbubble. The link is in the show notes. You could get some t-shirts.
Get some banging merch. Show all your friends you listen to the handsomest podcast this side of the Joe Rogan Experience.
Yeah. I don't want to work out that much, so he can keep that title.
And until next
shout
week.
Out to
never mind.
All our fans in South Korea.
Was it
South Korea?
It was South Korea. Well, I doubt it was North Korea. So it's got. Could you imagine if we find out that Kim Jong-un is a
We're like
huge
the Dennis
fan of our
Rodman
podcast. And he invites us personally. If he invited us personally out to North Korea for like a visit because he was such a huge fan, would you go?
Yeah,
me too.
I would 100% go because he's not going to kill and starve us.
Yeah.
He's going to give us some of the
Allegedly.
burritos his father invented. Oh, we forgot to talk about that.
What? Which?
Is that the North Korea is saying that Kim Jong-il invented burritos
Did he?
in like 2007 or something?
Is it one of those like fusion like a Jap burrito?
They're just
or
saying he invented burritos.
straight up,
and they call them wheat meat tubes.
he always
and
looked a
that-
little.
I wanted to talk about it just so I could be like, that is cultural appropriation. Right there. That's actual cultural appropriation when you pretend it was your invention instead of an ethnic food. Like the
I
real
mean, we've all been there. Hey,
Mhm.
we'll cover it next week. Until next week.
stay angry. Ah.